Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Crystal Thornton, and joining me is my husband,
Hello, how are you?
Gabriel, and we are the founders of Psalm 56 Ministries. We are sitting down today with you all. We're calling this Sunday Sit Downs, and we're talking about topics that are just hot topics, controversial topics, anything that y'all may have wanted us to talk about. We're talking about them in these sessions here. So today we are talking about submission and what that looks like in marriage, in the church, in our day-to-day lives.
Yes, so why are women having problems submitting, Crystal? What's going on there?
I think personally that women don't have good leaders to submit to. Personally, like I've mentioned, and if you are watching this video for the first time, go to our other video where we talk a little bit about that in kind of a background, but I have not had a good leader to submit to.
So what do you mean by that? Because you said that men or women have not had good leaders. So are you saying every woman on the planet are not having good leaders? Or
No, not at all. I think majority women have not seen a good Christ-fearing leader. And I think more than not,
how do you know that?
more women tell me they have not had a good leader than had a good leader.
So in your experience.
Yes, in my experience.
And then
in the church and not in the church as
it's
well.
an educated guess that if most women you talk to haven't, then you're thinking pretty much most women in the world probably.
Yeah, most women, I believe, have not had a good leader. Now, this is not every woman. There are some women that have great fathers, have great husbands, have great everything, and your life is so perfect. I'm happy for you.
I'm happy for you. That sounded a little jealous to me, but we'll talk on that. That energy.
I don't know what that is. I can't relate, but God bless you if you had a great dad, a great everything. No, nothing ever. You never had a bad man in your life. Praise God. But that is not the narrative for all of us. I think we need to talk about that and shed some light on that.
Okay, so for the people that or women that have not had good leaders, you think is that the reason typically that they're having trouble submitting? Would you say there are any occasions that a woman has a good leader and is still not submitting?
Yeah, I think that they may have not seen it in their house, like in their upbringing. So in my upbringing, I did not necessarily see a woman submit to a husband because he was not in his role. And I understand that you are in your role, in your God-fearing, Christ-like, but that still was hard for me because I never seen it displayed in the home from the get-go. So I didn't know what it looked like for a woman to submit, submit under a man at all. And I never really learned it even up until probably I went to ministry school is where I really seen the dynamic and, was bringing awareness to, hey, this is the hierarchy of God and this is what it looks like to submit and to be a godly wife and to do those things.
Yeah, that makes sense. So essentially, you think the basis of problem with submission is that we are trying to submit to men that are not worth being submitted to, and then
Or we're not seeing it in the home, like we're just not seeing.
Or you have a good man
Your mom.
like me, and you had some challenges submitting to me.
Yeah. Or culture. I think culture really, in our Hispanic culture, women are very dominant. And I hear this all across the board. I believe a lot of foreign cultures, the women are very dominant. They do a lot. They wear a lot of hats, and it causes them to come into this role that they are ahead of the man or higher than the man. And understanding that just because you can wear so many hats, you can do so many things, doesn't mean you're higher than your husband according to what God's word says. And just learning that and those things.
Yeah, that makes sense. You talk about saying like a man who feels like since they're the leader, they're like better or higher. And I think that is one of the, I guess, I don't know. Are we still doing that? Like, are men still like, I'm the man and I'm the leader, so do what I say. Make me a sandwich. Like, I wonder, like, I guess
Don't
it
tell me to make you a
P
sandwich.
now. Pause. Crystal. First of all, I don't even need to tell her to make me a sandwich. She will graciously just make me one if we have all the ingredients.
Yes.
And these sandwiches, her mom actually, she got this from her mom. They make the best toasted, pan fried BLT sandwich on the planet.
I might make y'all one day.
Yeah,
I'll
we really.
give you a tutorial.
Oh, no, secret recipe. Secret recipe.
Okay.
But no, those are. I could use one of those sandwiches right now, and very inexpensive. Better than any Subway. Subway's trash. Crystal is way better than Subway. But anyway.
Oh, thank you, baby.
So anyway, I don't know. I don't really hear this anymore. Like the whole like I'm the leader, so make me a sandwich type of energy. But what would you say like what are the qualities that even what makes you just say like a man is not even a good leader? Like what is the qualities that is even you're saying, oh, like you're not even worth being submitted to? Like what does that even mean?
Yeah. First and foremost, does he have God? Like, is he God fearing? Does he read his Bible? Does he take instructions from the Lord, or is he just watching football all day? No disrespect to those that are watching
A
football.
lot of y'all just got
all
disqualified
day,
from
but-
being great men because y'all watched football all day today.
Yeah, it's okay.
No, I'm joking.
But just truly that you're submitted to the Lord. I think that the leaders I had in my life were not submitted to the Lord at all, by no means. And they were the blind leading the blind, as my sister says. And truly, they are blind leading the blind. And if you're not led by Christ, the one who created you, you're ultimately being led by nothing, like by yourself. And all your works by yourself is not going to lead a woman or a family anywhere productive, anywhere that is going to bring glory to the kingdom of heaven. It's just not.
So what else? So you say following God?
Following God, I would say a leader that listens, listens to his people, listens to his wife, listens to his children, the cries of them or their needs. Also, I'm big about leaders not doing what they would tell someone to do. So if he's like, go make me a sandwich, well, would he make her a sandwich? Or if if he was deathly ill and he wanted her to take care of him, if she was in the same position, would he take care of her? Those types of things that if he's asking her to do something and he's not willing to do it, I'm sorry, it's really hard to submit to that.
Yeah, so let me jump in. So I am so big on leadership, guys. I mean, I have a big background in entrepreneurship, as a lot of you may know. Worked for an agency doing business or Amazon work, and then I started my own agency before that. And I had the great opportunity to be on teams, create teams, create products, and truly understand like what it means to lead projects. And man, in premarital counseling, we learned that marriage is similar to a lot of things, and one thing it is business. I mean, it's like business so many ways. Yeah. But one thing that I can say for sure is that a good leader would do whatever they would tell their team to do, period. And I think like that is a great quality that would make someone want to submit to you. It's a matter of time before you are telling people what to do and they realize like, man, he's not even doing that. Like we're no longer inspired, to do what he wants us to do. And then I'd say a good leader is someone who listens to their team. Like, so I could talk about this in a whole nother video, but don't think it's that great. Let me know in the comments if you want a Gabe talk on leadership, and send this to the man in your life. Maybe we can help y'all out, but possibly joking, or maybe there's someone who actually would want that. But I think the second thing is just listens. Like, I think a great leader doesn't just tell someone that I want a sandwich and their mindset is only on what they want. A good leader will actually consider first the person making the sandwich. They would wonder, are they available? Is this something that will take them away from what they're focusing on right now? Are they able to make a sandwich? I don't know, did I say that already? What's another thing? Like,
Have all the ingredients.
is this like, do they have enough sufficient time? Like, a leader is thoughtful. A leader is just very, they put themselves last.
Yeah.
And I think that if you are unfortunately with a man right now, married or not, and you're seeing, first of all, if you're not married, we need to talk. Email us. Email on the screen. We are unofficially starting a premarital ministry. We'll talk about that later, but we will have in the future, we're gonna have a series where we pretty much let people come in live, and we actually will give live advice to people on anything and everything that we're qualified to talk on. But I think if you're not married, then I don't want to say run. That's what I really want to say. But let's slow down and reconsider how fast we might be going. But if you are married, we don't believe in divorce. I think, oh, that's a topic. That's divorce. Great topic. Personally, I'll speak for myself. I don't believe in divorce on most circumstances. I think in the worst of the worst, you should leave the home and kind of work things out. But we'll get on that in another video. But essentially, where I'm trying to go, sorry, tangents, is I think you should really evaluate this person. If you're noticing, like, wow, like Gabe is mentioning a lot of great leadership qualities, listens, puts themselves last, would do whatever they are commanding people to do. I think, it's a good conversation to just have, I guess. But if we look at Christ, I think Christ is the obvious best leader there was. He's saying that the best love there is to die for one another. And he said that before, I believe, he even died.
And the Bible even says that for husbands to love their wives like Christ loves the church. And what does that mean? Like, I was thinking about that today in my, quiet time with the Lord. Like, what does that mean for Gabe? Like, he must die to himself. Yes. Christ went to the cross. He was beaten. He was mutilated. He was spit on. He had a crown of thorns. He had 39 stripes on his back. Like, what does that mean for my husband to love me like Christ loved the church? Like,
die
in the cross, in Calvary, like Christ was showing that he loved us, and like that is what you are called to do. Like,
die.
That's scary to me, like in a way, like in the most like reverent way, but it is like God, like I am God fearing of that, because that is a big role in a big shoes to fit, like. Yeah. And I don't want to fit that personally. Like, with all due respect, I don't want to do that.
Yes. A great talk on feminism, because women are saying that they can do whatever men can do, which is predominantly true, but that doesn't mean that you should be doing it at the capacity that men are doing it. Men are, let's say our muscles are at, I believe the density, I'm not a physical trainer or anything like that, but our density, I believe, is about 2 times more. It can get 2 times bigger than a woman's density can. And I believe that would mean that we can lift a bigger weight. But if a woman is trying to lift a weight that her muscle density just doesn't allow them genetically to do, then a lot of injury can occur. And I just think that a lot of that feminist kind of talk is not considering that we women were not necessarily created to typically excel in certain areas that men are typically excelling in. And I think it's intriguing, but it's a blatant attack by the enemy, and it's a very good attack. It even says in Genesis 3, I believe at the top of 3, it says that the serpent was the most cunning of them all. And yes, and all cunning of all the wild animals. And that is actually Satan in disguise. Theologians can agree to that. And so Satan is extremely cunning, and what he does is he always is going to show you something that belittles you because he feels belittled. He's a very big projector. He's going to make you feel like you're less than because he knows he's less than, because his future is an eternal lake of fire. He's going to tell women that they are being talked down to and that they should revolt. And that kind of just twists it. It's the greatest gaslighter is Satan himself, and he's twisting kind of the conversation of, what a woman is and what she should be able to do. And it just is always this conversation of what you're just gonna, it kind of reminds me of the instigators in high school, like, oh, you're gonna let them say that about you. And I think God has such amazing destinies for women doing things that men can't even do. And it's kind of intriguing, like men actually get their, or I should say women are actually getting what they want, or the feminists in that case, because if you think about it, they actually are able to set themselves apart, which in a way I feel like is what they want, to be told like, no, we don't belong in this class, we're in this class. But if you really seek the Lord, he will show you there is so much about you, honey, that we can never do. I cannot, I'm not going to name things, or people might call me sexist, but there's a lot of stuff, like, I guess the way that Crystal loves on Isaiah, or the way that her brain works in a certain way that sees certain details that I'm incapable of seeing, because my brain was not made in that way. And there's a lot of science that shows clearly that men have to only use, we're only able to use half our brain, or half the neurons or whatever, the left or right side one at a time as we go through the day, but women are actually able to use the entire brain. And there's so many great skill sets that y'all have that we can never touch. But instead, the enemy, he wants you to step out of your purpose and your strengths and have you focus on other strengths that actually are your weakness.
And turn us against each other. Going back to, like he said, Genesis, like, I find it so interesting how Satan, came for Eve, and then, they get in trouble. God finds out, and Adam blame shifts and puts the blame on her, when God came to him and as a leader and said, what happened here? What's going on? Adam, where are you? And he quickly puts the blame on Eve, where I believe that if he would have just took ownership of that and said, hey, we messed up. I messed up. I shouldn't have let her eat that. I failed as a leader. I really believe that God would have had mercy on him. The Bible even says that God is rich in mercy. And I truly believe that if Adam would have admitted, hey, I messed up as a leader, God would have just had so much more mercy, grace on him. But that is the enemy's plan, to separate us. He always wants to divide and conquer, and he always wants to divide men and women, especially in the marriage. Like I told my husband all the time, one can put 1,000 to flight and two can put 10,000 to flight. So if one is by themselves, they can only do so much. But when two are together, they are very powerful. And like the Bible even says, one is better than two, but two is better than three. And so when we're all in three accord, my husband, wife, God, we're unstoppable. And the devil knows that himself. So he's coming to kill, steal, and destroy. He's coming to separate the man and the woman. And he's coming to bring this nonsense of feminism and all this jazz of that topic. That is a whole other topic we could talk about. But it is, I believe, from Satan himself to divide and to conquer.
Absolutely. Do not be deceived by the worldly trends and cultures. Like, it's just so crazy. Like, I cannot believe at one point that I only followed kind of culture, and my life was based day to day on what was popular or what's trending, or what do people care about? Like never considering like what God has to say, because I either had little faith or none at all. And it's just crazy like how deep you could go into crap when you're just like kind of just going off of the riot outside. Like, what? We're being oppressed?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that sucks. Let me do something about it. And I just think that's really what's going on. I think this book has, I believe with all my heart, with proof, that this book warns us of that type of behavior, of demonic behavior where Satan is always going to try and tell us what we should be caring about, what we should be looking at, not looking at. And I think that God is very clear to always seek first his kingdom, and all his righteousness will be added unto us, and to not worry about, I guess, what's culture. And essentially we're headed into the conversation of progressiveness, of what is relevant now, or what's our view of things now. And if I was to decide on my life, if I'm gonna either bet on what people believe in or I'm gonna bet on what God, I think I'd rather bet on what God has to believe in first, before I consider progressiveness of what a human thinks about the world. So I think leadership, we go on these tangents because I think really it all comes down to leadership, and how if we follow God's order, it is not ancient, it's not this old school way. Give it a chance. I dare you. Give it a shot, and I promise you, your house will thrive. You will have healthy children. They will have healthy brains. They will then lead their own families, and y'all will have successful lives. Not sinless lives, because that's pretty much impossible. Is impossible. I'll just say it is impossible, but we will live a lot better than the worldly people out there.
I truly believe God is even telling me right now that, that is a tactic of the enemy to confuse us as women with this whole feminism hoorah that's going on right now, to really take away the true power that we have if we are God, the husband, the wife. And if we're submitted under that, that truly is where the power lies. Not power in being everything that a man is, but truly submitting and being under the will of God, because that's where the power is. And he knows that. He knows, like I said, we went back and talked about it in Genesis to the garden. He knew where he could come and take away their power, take away their authority, their dominion. And that's the same thing he wants to do to you and your family. He wants to divide and conquer. He wants to take away your power, your dominion. And he truly wants to just separate you from knowing the truth of the gospel and the truth of the hierarchy that God has set before us.
Amen. Well, that's all I got.
Yeah.
Anything else?
I think that's it. I think that's all I have.
All right.
So,
Question for y'all. Can homosexuals get into heaven? Click the video and find out what we think about that.
yeah, click it. We will see y'all next time, and thank you for watching.